Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated joins us on the program. How do you think this plays out with Zion?
Yeah, as far as this year, we certainly are trending in that direction. The latest news about Zion doesn't really give you much reason to be optimistic he's going to be back, say, before the All-Star break. And if you get past the All-Star break and the Pelicans are still in a situation where they are at or near the bottom of the Western Conference, you start to wonder, what's the point? I mean, if you want to add more talent around Zion, why not let him sit out this entire year and, add something for next year? But longer term, it is curious. I mean, it's not unprecedented, Dan, to have a player with a long-term injury work out away from a team. That happens in basketball, and I'm sure in other sports. But there's always been kind of this unease, perhaps. I don't know how else you want to phrase it, but some tenuousness between Zion and the Pelicans. So when you hear he's going to be rehabbing in Portland, Oregon, on the other side of the country, away from this team, and the Pelicans quick to point out in that release he'll be doing it under their medical supervision, you have to wonder kind of what exactly is going on between these two.
Who plays first, Zion or Ben Simmons?
I still think Ben Simmons will get moved before the trade deadline. If he's not, somehow, some way, he'll find his way back into the Philadelphia lineup. Now, there were some reports over Christmas about traction between Simmons or the Sixers and other teams involving Simmons. I haven't heard much of that lately. The Sixers are still holding out for a significant offer that includes, all-star level talents that can help them this year. And teams around the league, at least at this point, are not willing to offer it. I think you're going to see this go all the way up until the February trade deadline, because I don't think the Sixers are getting the kind of offers that they're looking for, and they won't get those kind of offers until we get right up against that deadline.
I was watching Kyrie last night, and I've never had any doubts about his talent. I have doubts about some of the things that he believes in, but here he is on display, and he looked spectacular last night. What do you think the status is going to be the rest of this season? If he's just a road player, and if you're the Nets, do you want a 5th seed or a 6th seed where you're playing more road games in the playoffs than you would if you're a top 4 seed?
Well, as far as seeding goes, and I've kind of had sort of casual conversation with people in Brooklyn about that, that's not a variable. I mean, one of the responses I get is that who says we can't win in 6 games? Like, they believe that these 3 guys have enough talent for them, not to be forced into that 7-game situation. And you look at it, I mean, Kyrie was brilliant, as you said last night. 22 points, shot better than 50% from the floor in his first game that he's played competitively in many months at this point. And if you go back to last season, I mean, the offensive rating for Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant in the 202 minutes they played was about 119. In the playoffs, that number spiked to an absurd 130 in limited minutes that they played together in the postseason. So they are great offensively together. I think, look, the Nets are going to keep him around. They're going to keep him in the practice facility, keep him going as a part-time player, because they don't know. I mean, Dan, by this time tomorrow, would it surprise you if Kyrie just got vaccinated? Like, his vaccination is going to happen without any fanfare. He's probably going to walk into a Walgreens and just get vaccinated on a whim. Like, so that, Kyrie didn't dismiss that possibility during his interviews last night. So that's out there. Also out there is the possibility that the New York City mayor, the new mayor, Eric Adams, could tweak this mandate. Now, this isn't an argument about vax or anti-vax, Dan, but the New York City mandate is ridiculous. The fact that Kyrie Irving can't play, but the 3% of other NBA players who are unvaccinated can come into Barclays Center and play is absurd. Yeah. So if I'm the Nets, in addition to kind of crossing our fingers and hoping James Harden and Kevin Durant can convince Kyrie Irving to get vaccinated, or Kyrie can do it on his own, I'm kind of lobbying City Hall and saying, look, if you want to make this vaccine mandate, that's fine. We believe in public health too. but make it fair across the board. If unvaccinated players are coming in here who presumably pose the exact same health risk as Kyrie Irving, they shouldn't be allowed to play either.
We're talking to Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated NBA senior writer. Klay Thompson coming back. It looks like they're pinpointing Sunday. His addition means what for this team this year?
I mean, even if it's 75, 80% of the Klay Thompson we're used to, it's enormous. And, when I talk to people in and around Golden State, all you hear is how great he looks and, how patient they have been with him, kind of trying to work him back to being as close to game shape as possible. Now, the things to watch for with Klay Thompson early are not going to be the three-point shot. Like, he has been working on that shot. He's been able to do that for weeks and weeks, if not months now. Klay, what made him a great all-around player were two other facets to his game. One, he was able to use the threat of the three-point shot to ball fake, get to the basket, pull up from mid-range. Does he have that same spring on that move to the basket? That's the first one. And defensively, Klay was a high-level defensive guy, for most of his years. And the Warriors, I think right now, top 2 in the NBA in defensive efficiency. Is he that same type of guy? If he's, again, 75, 80% of what he once was, I mean, they're basically getting back an all-star-ish level player. If he's lost a little bit and can't get that back, at least not this season, that's something Golden State will have to adjust to.
I'm federally mandated to ask you about LeBron James and the Lakers. LeBron's been playing great, but I don't think he can play great enough, though. Your assessment of the Lakers now we're into January.
You're hard-pressed to find or to look for a pathway that sees them making a deep run in the playoffs right now. The Lakers are active out there on the trade market. I had one GM say to me 2 nights ago, is like, why do we keep hearing about the type of players the Lakers can acquire for this Talen Horton-Tucker, Kendrick Nunn, first-round draft pick kind of poo-poo platter that is being sort of floated out there as a possibility? Yeah, Horton-Tucker is an appealing prospect, but if you're looking at some of the top names that are out there, whether it's Jeremy Grant in Detroit, maybe Christian Wood down in Houston, those teams are going to have better offers for the Lakers. I think for LA, their only hope for, I guess, salvation this season is if Anthony Davis comes off this injury and gets back to looking like the bubble Anthony Davis. We haven't seen that player, Dan, in over a year now. I mean, he was pretty good last year, and you can certainly make the argument that if he doesn't get hurt in the first round, the Lakers are in the finals last season. But he has not been the same player this year. His perimeter shooting has fallen off a cliff. Look, he's got to be their full-time 5, and he has got to be a highly effective full-time 5. DeAndre Jordan really doesn't have a lot left. Dwight Howard really doesn't have a lot left. I mean, I know we're kind of getting excited about this LeBron James as a 5 kind of option, but that's not going to work long-term, especially not when you go up against bigger teams in the postseason. The Lakers, whenever Anthony Davis comes back, he has got to be a top 5 player in the NBA. And I'm not sure, based on what I've seen this season, that he has that in him.
Great to talk to you again, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Not bad for the least valuable guest of 2021.
You heard about that, huh?
I was sent that clip by no fewer than 3 people.
But you're an award winner.
Is that like a Razzie?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. I didn't vote. I did not vote on the least valuable guest, but we love having you on.
It's all right. I've now signed an exclusive deal with Maggie and Perloff, so I'll be talking to you.
You're
again.
leaving. You're going to join McLovin. Okay.
I am.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Thank you, Dan.
This might be the last time we see or hear from Chris Mannix. He's so good. So bad that he's good. I forgot all about that Mannix was voted least valuable guest. Did we vote on that?
I think it was a group decision.
It was?
And then the listeners backed us to the hill.
No, of course they did.